What's up, traders? What do we do? Technically 4 for 5 with one big loser. SPY was basically break even, Tesla kind of break even, and then PLAG and NKLA. TKAT was the trade of the day. Again, if you want to watch these live, again, over on Twitch, I'll leave that link in the pinned comment below. This one kind of sucked. As you can see here, this is what it looked like when we pulled it up. Actually looked pretty good. Nice little move up towards 4. It kind of jiggled right here. We ended up getting in, and right after we got in, it shot right up through, or actually it came back down. We put an order out at 78 and it came back down, hit 79, which is penny above our order. And right after that, shot right up towards the halt. It fake halted at this 410, started to come back down. So I got an add in, and right after we hit the add, it like touched 4 for a second, then shot up into the halt and then halted. And so we waited for it to unhalt, and it halted up. So let's zoom in here for a sec. As you can see, it halted up and it opened at 445. It shot up right after it halted or unhalted. We got an add on the way back down at 449. And keep in mind, we were pretty heavy. We started with 400, added 400, and up here we had 800. So we had 1,600 shares. I did the math later. At the top, if we would have got stopped out at the highs, it was like $720. Our max loss is 800. So that's without any slippage, depending if we got slippage or not. Could have been a max loss. Our average was at 422. And if you go back and watch it, for some reason, let me put it there. It literally comes down to 423, and that's where it started to bounce. Not once did it get under 422. Was very frustrating. We had an order for 1,000 of the shares sitting at 419. So all we needed was literally that one more little push, and this would have been a completely different trade. Would have been out most of my shares there. Most likely would have added up here towards that pop up to 450, looking for it to come back down after the failed pop up back up, and would have been a really nice green trade. But as you can see, just because it bounced right off our average, we ended up having to take some off on the way up. I think we realized it was like $90 red, I think. It came down a little bit, was really looking for that 410, even $4 test. I was at least expecting it to try to retouch that halt level to get half of the remaining shares out. As you can see, we couldn't even get down that far. It wouldn't even get down to 410. It got the 415, started to bounce back up. We ended up taking this 400 off at 420, which was only 2 cents under our average. And again, we tried to let it get back down for the remaining amount, hoping that this thing would just kind of fall over. It did try. It got under the halt price, but it didn't even get that 4 test and started to go back up. Told myself if we get that first candle over candle, I'm going to go ahead and take it off. And we did. And as you can see, it did try to keep going. But then ultimately, wouldn't you know it, after that, it decided to die. So pretty frustrating trade to start off the day. But it could have been way worse, right? This thing could have slung all the way back up to the highs, and it could have been a max loss. So gotta find the happiness in there somewhere. Second trade was on NKLA. This isn't something you would typically see me trade because I'd be looking for extension away from here. But you know, when you have a bigger loss, you tend to make a little bit looser decisions. It was a decent move on some volume, as you can see. I was hoping it would go up higher, but once I realized it was jiggling there and didn't want to go higher, I just jumped in. And again, I was punchy with it because normally I'd be looking for this to retest for my profits. But since we were coming back through that area, I'm not accustomed to these types of trades. So ended up taking them off pretty quickly. Got a nice little dump down towards 11, took the rest off, and this thing just kind of kept on going. As you can see, it's all the way down to 1020 now. So pretty crazy move back down. The next trade was on Tesla. Pretty big move from the SPY and Tesla. Usually Tesla will react a little bit better than the SPY as far as the bounces and whatnot. But in this case, it wasn't. The SPY bounced up quite a bit back up towards that previous support area, and Tesla couldn't even get about halfway there. So once I realized that was happening, I just ended up taking it off. And as you can see, it did end up going lower before it did eventually try to make its way back up. And then the next trade was on the SPY, which was later on that real big dump through that. This is where I traded it the first time. Tried to go back up and then made an even bigger dump. So I said, okay, well, if the SPY is reacting better than Tesla, I'll just stay here. And again, tried to get in. And as you can see, if we zoom in a little bit, It did try to come back up, but then ultimately tried to go lower. It did go lower for a little bit and then finally made its way back up. But even then, it still didn't get as high as I wanted. I was looking for up closer to that previous support level, and it still ended up going lower again. So definitely wouldn't have been holding for any of that. And then our last trade was on PLAG. This one was kind of an interesting one. Kind of popped up, volume out of nowhere, and it had a halt at 101. So I kind of front ran it at 99. I actually put out 300 shares, but for some reason it only filled me 202. Went through my order, didn't give me the other 98 shares for some reason, and then went higher to the halt price. And I was a little confused. It actually, the broker canceled those 98 shares for whatever reason. I don't know why. And yeah, I only got filled 202. It tried to halt, but then the halt price went up. It shot up to that new halt price and then immediately shot right back down. And I didn't have my order out at the time. I had an order at 91 and then I took it off because I thought it was going to halt. And then literally it did that and popped back down. It went all the way down to 90 and then popped back up to like 95. And I was like, you got to be kidding me. So I put my order back out at 91 because it was already sitting in the montage, and then it came back down and filled me. So as you can see, it just kept going lower. So that was the last trade that we took. There was two trades that I was actually kind of sad that I didn't take. And that one was this top one here on BBBY. The wife wanted to go out and eat some dinner. Some lunch, and I was fine with that. But it ended up making me. I was sitting here. It was this one right here. I was like, oh, look at this! It's extending, getting up close to that whole dollar. The volume was ramping up. Just looked like a really good extension that was gonna, give us a decent pullback. Wouldn't have ended up being that big of a trade anyway. Would have been like $20, but hey, it would have been $20 more that I didn't. But anyways, if you were watching the live stream today, you know that I got a tree and 4 stumps removed from the backyard today, which was nice. But while I was shoveling that into a truck, some of the remains, and taking it to the dump, this popped up. And I definitely would have been playing this. So I was a little frustrated that I missed this one as well. But, started off a frustrating day. Might as well end a frustrating day. So that's all I got. Don't forget to like and subscribe. Always appreciate the support. If you have any questions or comments, leave them down below. You can find me in Discord, find me on Twitter, and hopefully tomorrow's a better day. Peace.